So, folks, we have to talk about some serious business today because, well, we are now in an age of America where we have a secret police force. We have people going
Less than
missing.
3.
Ms. Genderlin, thank you for gifting a sub to Elenita Express. Appreciate it. But this country is now in some real deep shit. There's really no other way of saying it. I talked briefly last week about how in New Mexico there's a story about 48 people who have simply been disappeared by ICE, and their lawyers can't find them. And we talked briefly, and we're going to talk more extensively today about a German green card holder who was abducted by ICE, beaten, left overnight to pass out without food or water, and before ultimately being released. But we are in whole new territories here. We of course also have Mohammed Khalil, who was disappeared by ICE and is currently the subject of a lot of legal wrangling as his lawyers fight against him being deported. But we also have to talk about this case that happened less than 24 hours ago. And that is the case that is currently growing more and more attention of Rumeysa Öztürk, who is a Turkish student getting her PhD at Tufts University. And she penned an op-ed in support of Palestinian people who are being targeted for systematic extermination and removal by the Israeli government. And I'm about to play for you guys the full video of her abduction. This happened in broad daylight. And it is horrifying. But this is something we all need to see, and we all need to reckon with the fact that this is happening. This is where we are at. And you need to start thinking to yourself, what are you going to do? What am I going to do? Yeah, we're beyond like ICE must be abolished. We're at ICE must be destroyed. Exactly, Droning Goddess. But here is the footage. They are not the police, by the way. If someone approaches you like this, you start screaming. Do not go silent. Do not listen to them trying to make you get quiet and complacent. You get fucking loud. These are a bunch of people in plain clothes cornering a girl in broad daylight to abduct her without a fucking trial. This is vile. This is absolutely obscene. They don't need a fucking warrant. They don't need any legal justification for this. They've been given orders by their Führer, and they are going and abducting people off the fucking street. And you want to know something? Look at every single one of them. Each person participating in this abduction is wearing a goddamn mask because they fucking know that they are gonna be on every news station. And they want to hide their identities as they carry out the grunt work of disappearing people into an arcane system and denying them their constitutional rights. Every single person involved in these abductions and these detentions needs to fucking face prison time. There needs to be a goddamn legal and political reckoning for these people. For these people who complacently went along with orders, telling them to violate other human beings in this country on the orders of a mad king. Unironically, like, I don't know what your limits are when it comes to Second Amendment self-defense here. I don't know what your limits are. These people approached her in plain clothes. They're lying to her about their legal jurisdiction. They are trying to minimize this entire interaction in order to make sure people walking by don't try and intervene. I do not know what her legal protections are or what anyone's legal protections are, but I'm here telling you, like, this is beyond the pale. The people who, everyone in the chain of command, from the lowest peons carrying it out to the highest echelons of power, need to see like the inside of a courtroom on this.
Yep. We're going to take a nice little camera. Come on. I'll show you everything. Okay. Sure. Yep. You're fine.
I understand you're scary. Where the police? Where the police?
Where the police?
I need you guys to understand something. The latest update I have on this is that her lawyer does not know where she is. Because the system that is currently encroaching on her and all of us has no limitations.
Hey, you don't look like it. Why are you hiding your faces? Why are you hiding your faces?
Yep. Take everything. Yep, I'm going to take it down.
Yeah, we're gonna take a
Literally, someone passing by or someone from a balcony or something asked, "Why are you hiding your faces?" And you can see them readjust their masks so that they stay up.
I see some faces here. How do I know this is the police? It's like, hey, you're the police like this. Is that thing going on here?
That is what black bagging someone who is politically inconvenient looks like in the Trump administration. She was here legally. She was here studying. One student who did not wish to be identified, according to Paladin Loss, said she had not seen Ozturk at any of the pro-Palestine protests at Tufts University. Friends of Ozturk believe she may have been targeted because of a doxing campaign for co-authoring a March 2024 opinions article in the university newspaper Tufts Daily, renewing calls for the university to adopt the Tufts Community Senate resolutions to acknowledge the Palestinian genocide, apologize for university President Sunil Kumar's statements. Oh, it's from Mideast Eye? Gotcha. Understand, folks, that she was disappeared. And what this system does is that there is approximately 13 private jets that ICE has on standby at any given time. And those jets move people all across the country at a moment's notice. So what ends up happening is that she gets arrested in Somerville, Massachusetts. And in a handful of hours, this college kid gets shipped all the way to Louisiana because she wrote an op-ed in a college newspaper that was inconvenient to people in positions of power. This is one of the this is a violation of every constitutional edict. You know? Now, apparently, as of 4 hours ago, it was confirmed that she was in Louisiana. But earlier today, no one had any idea where she was. Because when they abduct these people, they disappear into the system. They go away. And the thing about it is, if it can happen to this lady, it can happen to literally any person in America. Doesn't matter if they're a Democrat, doesn't matter if they're a Republican, doesn't matter who they voted for, doesn't matter what they did, because what this is a complete lack of due process. It is completely bypassing the courts. There are no warrants. There is no trial. There is no opportunity to plead your innocence. There's no occasion for the government to try and prove that you're guilty of anything. This is, simply put, lawlessness. It is an abdication of everything except for dictate by madman. There's nothing else here. Absolutely none. Every single person who enables this and supports this is someone who should not be allowed in polite society or civil society and should probably be put in prison for life after a trial showing their complete and utter abdication of any kind of responsibility. This is, and I cannot stress this enough, Gestapo shit. This is Nazi shit. This is, you come out of your house one day and the nice Jewish cobblers next door are just gone. And no one knows what happened to them. That's what this is.
This is a site called Know Your Rights. These are cards in different languages to tell immigrants their rights as well as to hand to ICE agents.
Yeah.
Link after Super Chat.
Yep. We'll talk about Know Your Rights for sure. But yeah, I mean, Rick James, why is everyone so triggered? I don't know. Do you believe in laws? Do you think laws should exist and be followed? Or are you like someone who's just like laws shouldn't exist, only the politics of the rock? Because I guarantee you don't want that. I guarantee you, weaselly little scumfucks like yourself want laws. Um, let's see. Let's see. Yeah, nobody wants the politics of the rock. Literally, everyone gets burned. It's true, but usually, and this is the secret of the politics of the rock, the side that has more people in it typically wins out when we get down to politics of rock. Yeah, I'm just really scared if we get to that point. The issue is, and the issue you have to contend with at this very moment, both Bastion and every single person in chat, is that we have already hit the point where there are now people being disappeared on our streets and taken away, tortured, and potentially disappeared forever. That's where we're at right now. Anything less than immediate action on every single one of our parts to do what we can only ensures that this gets worse. Like the time for like, oh man, where does this go from here? Like, how can it get worse? Like we're rapidly escalating at the moment. Please organize. That's what we're doing. When you said we may need to leave this country, you were not wrong. I was not. I was not being hyperbolic. I am incredibly literal. Talk to your neighbors. Get to know the folks around you. Because, guys, they want to kill you. You know? Like, they genuinely want to do that. They talk about it all the time. They fantasize about it. They meme about it. They are prepping themselves and everyone around them to kill you. And so what we need to do now is we need to organize at every available opportunity. Tesla takedown. Your April 5th is going to be a big one. Indivisible and 5051 coming together on April 5th. That's going to be a big one, folks. So you need to make sure you be intentional from here on out with your time supporting people. If we can get, for example, one or two of these congressional seats that are up for grabs on April 1st, that is huge. That would make a huge difference. We would have potentially a colossal roadblock in the way of accelerating fascism. That would be good, in fact. Do I have links? Boy, do I have links to a bunch of different things you can do. Here we go. Okay, folks, are you ready? You ready for a few things you can do? All right. All right. Folks, number one thing you can do, you can look at your local indivisible opportunities, okay? Indivisible is meeting all over the place. You can create your own Indivisible group, organize in your local community. Okay? No single person is going to be the entire solution to this problem, but you can be part of the solution to this problem. It is only when we work together that we are actually able to achieve much greater outcomes. Okay? So there is one thing you can do. Number 2, you can volunteer for Susan Crawford. Her election in Wisconsin for state Supreme Court is coming up on Tuesday of next week. You can find a local door knocking event or sign up to phone bank. You need to do that, okay? These are ways you can productively get involved. Another way you can get involved is you can leave a comment on this particular page here to protect trans rights in the Affordable Care Act. All right. Boop. 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 There you go. Additionally, folks, you can make your calls. Call your representatives, your senators. Call them. Unironically, start becoming a known entity in your different areas. You know, start to be recognizable on the other end of the phone to staffers in these congressional offices. Get going. You need to put pressure on the people in power. This is one way you do that. Additionally, folks, it's also very easy to call your congressional representatives, okay? Super easy. It takes all of 5 minutes. Give them a call every single weekday. Tell them that you care about this. Tell them that you care that people who are in the United States legally are being abducted without a trial. Because this is the kind of thing people need to get fucking furious about. People need to get furious. And Skylight, yes, you know, phone banking for different people running for these special elections is another way you can get organized. All right? Additionally, folks, if you are interested in potentially gumming up the works against Doge, here is a form letter that you can use. And you can alter it as you see fit. But you can request Doge records. And they are legally obligated to respond within a certain period of time. If they do not, you can join in a class action lawsuit against the people and entity responsible for not responding to you. All right? So, there you go. Additionally, folks, share this around, especially to people in your life who may be undocumented or who may be immigrants of any kind, whether legal or undocumented, what have you. The ACLU of Massachusetts, about a week ago, put together this family preparedness plan for when ICE shows up. Share this around. Create printable pamphlets. Share it around in your neighborhoods, okay? Different things you can do. This list of suggestions is not going to be comprehensive, but I'm trying to give you as many things as I can reasonably provide you guys. Additionally, if you would like to get involved in the coming April 5th protest, here is the 5051 website. They are working together with Indivisible. If you'd rather work, organize with Indivisible for April 5th, knock yourself out. Okay? And lastly, you can, of course, volunteer for Joshua Wheel in Florida's 6th congressional district. Currently, he's within the margin of error of potentially flipping a Republican seat in Florida. So we need to give him as much support as we can. So volunteer to try and get him elected. His election is also on April 1st. Y'all got to get involved. Y'all got to get doing this. It is important. All right? I don't have time, Ms. Molina. Please stop. I know it's coming from a good place, but I am too anxious and too fucking angry. It's so frustrating. It's so fucking infuriating. And, you know, I'm not alone in thinking that. All right? This was a protest, you know, in support of Miss Ozturk. Organized in less than 24 hours at Tufts. And like, this is where my hope is. My hope is that these flash protests, these muscles we're building as we continue to organize and continue to get stronger with our organizing apparatus, my hope is that we reflexively build so much of that muscle that the second one of these fascist ghouls looks at us the wrong way, you know, 10,000 of us go out in the streets. That we start pulling French-style protests. Okay? That's what we need to start to be able to do. And, like...
Closed. Keep your car closed.
Look at this.
Closed. Keep your car closed.
Literally giving trainings to a mass organized group of people on how to resist ICE when they come to try and nab you. Keep your goddamn car closed and know your rights. It's fucking important, guys. Here's an aerial view of the protest, just to give you guys an idea of the scale. And again, this is in less than 24 hours. This many people showed up in support of this person who was summarily disappeared from their streets. A PhD student just vanished into the ether. Yeah, buy pepper spray. You know, buy street legal knives, buy, you know, a firearm if you feel comfortable using one. Like, get familiar with defensive equipment, folks. Additionally, oh god, of course. I left it too long. God damn it. ICE can't take us if we stick together. That's the idea. But I mean, like, this is where we're at. You know, this isn't the first person who's legally here to disappear from our streets, folks. This is a piece from the New Republic from about a week ago. No one is safe from America's abusive immigration authorities anymore. Even legal residents and tourists are being terrorized by Trump-emboldened officers at ICE and CBP. It probably never crossed Fabian Schmidt's mind that he wouldn't breeze through security at Boston's Logan Airport. A legal resident of New Hampshire, he flew back to the United States on March 7th after a visit to Luxembourg, but never made it through security. According to his mother, who didn't get to speak to him until 4 days later, Schmidt was violently interrogated for hours, stripped naked, and forced into a cold shower. Given little food or water, suffering from sleep deprivation, and prevented from taking anxiety and depression medication, he collapsed and was hospitalized, where he learned he also had the flu, she said. Schmidt is now reportedly locked up in an Immigration and Customs Enforcement detention center in Wyatt, Rhode Island. I mean, this is where we're at. This is where we're at. And he's a citizen. He's a legal resident. Schmidt is not your usual profile of an immigrant subjected to alleged abuse by U.S. immigration authorities. A 34-year-old German national with a green card since 2008. He's an electrical engineer whose partner, a cardiologist, is a U.S. citizen. They have an 8-year-old daughter. Schmidt's mother said his green card had been flagged, possibly over a since-dismissed misdemeanor for marijuana possession in California. His case, along with a growing list of other examples, shows how large a role discretion plays in the immigration system, and how that discretion appears to be changing drastically under the second Trump administration, as emboldened authorities throw the book at and even abuse those who once could consider themselves relatively protected. That's where we're at, folks. We are literally allowing these authorities to simply torture people for no reason. This guy did not get a trial. This guy did not have any legal basis for holding him against his will and depriving him of liberty. And yet, he is sitting in an immigration detention facility. And I'm just going to end this particular segment because there's no resolution to this, of course. Like, Rumesa Ozturk is still, at the end of the segment, going to be sitting in an ICE detention facility for no reason other than the vindictive cruelty of this administration. There's no legal infraction. There's no possible pretense of holding her or attempting to deport her, and yet they're holding her and attempting to deport her. You know? That's where we're at. So I'm gonna end on this particular part here. This is an excerpt from John Quincy Adams' oral arguments before SCOTUS. In what year? 1841. I will not recur to the Declaration of Independence. Your honors have it implanted in your hearts. But one of the gravest charges brought against George III was that he had made laws for sending men abroad beyond the seas for trial. That was one of the most odious of those acts of tyranny which occasioned the American Revolution. The whole of the reasoning is not applicable to this case, but I submit to your honors that if the president has the power to do it in the case of Africans and send them beyond the seas for trial, he could do it by the same authority in the case of American citizens. By a simple order to the marshal of the district, he could just as well seize 40 citizens of the United States on the demand of a foreign minister and send them beyond seas for trial before a foreign court. Little did John Quincy Adams ever imagine that in the United States, someone who declared himself a king would actually simply send someone overseas to be imprisoned without even the pretense of a trial. Understand that what we're talking about right now in America in 2025 is worse than the tyranny of an actual king that we as a country revolted against and overthrew. Understand that's where we're at, folks. I'm scared they're not even hiding their fascism. One thing I can recommend for fear is getting angry as shit. Get angry. Don't get scared. Get fucking angry. You know, I seem to recall a piece we read right before we went into this segment. Something about a tree of liberty and what it's watered with. So, anyway, if you are lacking hope or feeling fear, take heart in our forefathers, take heart in those who fought before you, and do not allow this to cow you into submission, because that is how we lose. Get angry and do something. Get angry and organize. Get angry and mobilize others. That's where we're at. We fight. We get loud. We mobilize, and we do not stand down until either these fascists break or they start trying to shoot us in the streets. That's what we need to do. And I know that that is a scary prospect. But what we're talking about here is if we try and curl up into a ball and ignore this, they've already won. There's nothing stopping them. We are the ones who can stop them. So we need to fight back in the ways we can. I'm not saying it's time to take up arms against the government, but I am saying that it's time to organize. It is time to have us mobilize en masse. And this April 5th action is going to be a potential proof of concept for a larger one. And we need to keep on moving forward with that goal in mind.
Instead of being scared, sing the song of angry men, then stand together and make them cower.
Yep. Our power right now is not in force of arms. It is not in combat. It is not in any of these things. Our power right now is in peaceful mobilization. In mobilizing greater and greater and greater numbers of people. Getting them out into the streets, stretching their protesting muscles, their ability to act as well alongside you, emboldening each other, taking heart in our mutual company, and making sure that those people know that if they want to stop us, if they want to see their fascist regime triumph, they're going to have to kill us. It will be over our dead bodies. And once they try and do that, then we're in a whole different ball game. But right up until then, we are mobilizing ever more people, because the more people you have, well, the less attractive trying to shoot those people becomes. That's, when we boil it down to brass tacks, the more people you organize, if you have 1 million people marching through Washington, D.C., that people power is stronger than the bullets they can marshal. Okay? Our will versus their triumph, indeed. And we will win the day. So that's where we're at